Hi everybody, I'm Stuart Small, founder of GForce Golf and inventor of the GForce swing trainer with the super flexible shaft. In today's video, we're going through the GForce driver. I've got the GForce driver here. There is another option where you can buy the driver shaft and you can fit an adapter to that to match that of your current playing driver head. So you can just lock it in and lock it out and do the training with it or use it on the golf course. So typically, if you're struggling with your driver, you need to really look at, first of all, your rhythm and tempo. Look at all the top players out there. They've got beautiful rhythm and tempo in the swing. Everything looks really smooth back and through. Coordination is beautiful. And it looks like they're putting very little effort into the golf shot. And you can do the same with the help of this GForce driver. The super flexible shaft is really going to help out with the rhythm and tempo, first of all, because if you're sort of yanking it around or forcing the transition, getting too aggressive in the transition, you're going to feel it through the shaft, okay? Because it's going to overload too much. You're going to feel it bending, flexing, vibrating, and you're going to feel unbalanced when you swing. So the important thing when you first use it is to try and focus on just making smooth swings back and through. Start slowly to begin with. You want a nice slow tempo to begin with and just build up from there. So now I'm going to come through a little bit faster. So I'm trying to work up my swing speed towards my tempo. And you can hear the swish when you do it as well. So that's a good indicator that you're gradually building up your speed. So the first thing before we hit any golf shots, we need to get the 3 degrees of motion, like I talked about in the previous training videos. We need all of the joints in the body completely free and relaxed. So that includes your ankle joints, your kneecaps, your hips, the elbows, the shoulders, and importantly, the wrists. Okay, we need these wrists super hingy. All right, we don't want to be trying to lock the wrist out. We don't want to try and manipulate the wrist, because this is really one of the keys to helping you strike the ball solid. If you're going to play good golf, the number one thing you need to do is hit the ball out the center of the club face. And if you're locking body parts out, elbows, shoulders, hips, wrists especially, you're not going to strike the ball consistently. Okay, so you've got to free everything up. That's really going to help with the freeing your swing up. It's really going to help get you like a nice rhythm and tempo. As you can see here when I'm swinging, everything looks nice and loose and relaxed. I can feel like a whipping action coming through as well, which is going to help me pick up some speed. So that's really important to start with. Free everything up. You see athletes just before they're running out the starting blocks in the 100-meter sprint, they're shaking their feet around and arms and everything, because they want to fire that kinetic chain. So the kinetic chain is the transfer of energy from the ground all the way up through your body, and we need to do that and get it through the body, down the shaft and into the club head. The only way we can do that is if we're keeping every part of the body completely free. If we lock anything out throughout the swing, whether that's on the takeaway or downswing position, if anything freezes up, then you break the kinetic chain. And then what happens then is you have to make up for lost speed by compensating, throwing another body part in, some funky shoulder position or little wrist flick or, shoving the arms through. So you've got to keep the body completely free, no tension. And then we can get on and hit some really good golf shots. We can strike the ball and then start to develop plenty of club head speed. If you want to be a good driver of the ball, you need lots of club head speed. And the one thing that's going to help you get club head speed is, first of all, getting your rhythm and tempo right. So what we don't want is a jerky, snatchy action going back and through. We want to try and smooth things out. So the first thing you're going to do with the GForce swing trainer is make a few swings, nice and smooth to begin with. If you want to pick up some speed, I suggest you feel as though you move the grip end of the club away from the ball first. See that? You're dragging the grip end of the club away first. The club head is lagging behind on the takeaway. So it's like a reverse lag on the takeaway Because if we do this move and keep the wrist nice and free, yeah, it starts to hinge on its own as we go up. Okay, so I'm applying no force into my wrist. I'm not consciously trying to cut my wrist, just allowing the momentum of the golf club to do it for me. And that happens at the top. When I get to the top and my shoulders stop turning, my arms slow down and stop, the momentum from the club carries on and cocks my wrist fully. You want a full wrist cock to the top of your swing. That's really important to get. Also with the GForce shaft, the feeling you're going to get as you're swinging the club back is that you're almost keeping the shaft fairly rigid as you're going back. We don't want to put too much yank and snatchy sort of force through it, which is going to cause it to flex and make it difficult to hit the ball. So we're looking for really a smooth backswing and a smooth change in direction down into the transition and downswing. So try to keep it very smooth, and this club will let you know very quickly if that's not happening. The other thing you're going to feel when you swing it to the top is obviously the wrists are loading up and cocking, but also the shaft is going to load up as well at the top of the swing. You want a little bit of load, and what that's great for is helping you feel when to time the downswing transition. Because before we start down, we want to make sure the wrists are fully loaded at the top, the shaft's loaded, we've got the weight shifted forward onto the left foot, then we're ready to pull the club down into the transition. And this club is a great tool to help you feel that, because it's going to help you feel that little bit of a pause at the top before you start down. And that's where you can really pick up some speed. So I'm moving the handle of the grip first. Okay, the momentum from the club then as I carry on is cocking my wrist forward naturally, getting to the top. The weight shifting to the left side, wrist fully cocked, shaft loading. And then from that position, I'm ready to pull the club down. Like I've talked about in the previous videos, that's the feeling you want to get in the transition. You're keeping your shoulders back, so you're keeping your back to the target. You're pulling the arms and the club down. Straight, get the feeling of pulling them straight down, keeping the upper arms tucked in close to the body. So we're coming down on a much narrower arc than we were in the backswing. And just like the ice skater twirling analogy I talked about in previous videos, that's going to help your hips turn out the way automatically. So your downswing will be on autopilot with that feeling. So one of the biggest faults with driving it on the downswing is starting down with the shoulders first, so the shoulders start to unwind, and then the club sort of works out to in then. So if I start at my shoulders, as opposed to pulling my arms down like this to get into the delivery position, if the shoulders go first, you can see how the club is coming more out to in and across. So my shoulders are very open when I get to the golf ball. So if I can get to the top and then feel like I'm holding my shoulders back, delaying them as I'm bringing the arm down into the correct delivery position, then I can turn through. You can see my shoulders are almost more sort of closed as I'm coming in, which is a great feeling to get if you slice the ball. You've got to get the arms and club down first before your body starts going. That's the biggest problem with a lot of golfers. That's why you're losing club head speed.